Good evening, and you're talking to someone whose city this week was kicked off the World Heritage Site list. We had a good case, we were kicked off. I think we were unlucky. I have to say, I think Australia has been pretty lucky with this decision. Given 5 years ago, UNESCO said it might be put at risk. I think they've been fairly lucky. Obviously, it's not going to go away. It's going to come back again in February. But you've got a stay of execution for at least 6 months. So that's one part of the story.
What difference would it make to those trying to protect the Great Barrier Reef from further damage if it is listed as in danger?
This is all about reputation. I mean, there's a huge debate going on. You've just been having stories of floods in China, floods in Europe. You know, there are huge debates going on about climate change, global warming, and all of that. They're very big debates. The UNESCO is one part of that jigsaw, essentially. And in effect, it's giving you a yellow card to say, you are at risk. We might kick you off if you don't get better, but we're giving you a chance to show you're going to get better. What I think it does is intensify the argument in Australia about what government should and should not do, what its relationship should and should not be with fuel fossil companies. I think this probably strengthens the Australian government's hands, as a matter of fact, in that debate. But I'm pretty clear the environmentalists will come back. You've got the motion, in effect, deferred for 6 or 7 months. So I expect the debate, which is pretty hot in Australia, will now become even hotter because, you know, in 6 months' time, they're going to be at you again.
And Professor, this is a classic example of how this issue can really become politicised, with governments fighting UNESCO for their sites not to be listed as such.
Yeah, UNESCO is a technical body, it's a scientific body, it's an advisory body. They make their recommendations on the basis of evidence and science. You then go to a 21-member committee of UNESCO ambassadors, often former diplomats, politicians, all of them who vote and say, yeah, we'll go with this or not. There's a great deal of lobbying, a great deal of arm twisting, a great deal of vote changing. So in effect, I would have thought that the Australian minister's charm offensive across those countries has paid off on this occasion. So it's all highly political, frankly.
Well, the group is currently chaired by China. How much sway does the chair have over such decisions?
I don't think a lot, frankly. I watched the whole debate about Liverpool. The Chinese chair, I thought, was fairly formal on all of this. I don't think they were setting the agenda, quite frankly. There are 57 countries involved in this. UNESCO is very concerned to sustain its reputation, and it doesn't want to give in to bullying by member states. So I don't think China set this agenda. I think a lot of member states are concerned, frankly. As I say, Australia has got itself a breathing space, but it is no more than that. And 6 months is not a very long time to come back to the table. If they've asked you to produce much tighter plans, much clearer guarantees, much clearer regulation, Australia will have to come up with that, or I think it'll be back in the same position because the Secretariat will bring this back. They won't give up on this, I suspect.
So it's certainly not the end of it. Let's turn our attention to Liverpool. As you've said, UNESCO voted to delist the city centre and waterfront, which has been a World Heritage Site for 17 years. What were the reasons given?
They said two things. They said 5/6 of your World Heritage Site is fine. You've invested it, you've protected it. It looks better now. But there's one part, which is the North Docks, which has been derelict for 50 years. The city wants to do development there, and Everton Football Club wants to put a new stadium there. UNESCO said that we already have ruined the outstanding value. We said we haven't actually built yet, so it is not the case. We also said that Everton would invest greatly in heritage. They put £50 million of their investment into the scheme. So Liverpool argued, we need development, and it's not in conflict with heritage. We lost. I think it was unfair, and good luck with you.
So clearly you don't agree with the decision. How important is it for Liverpool to be put back on the list?
You can't appeal. It's all over. My view is I'm relieved. Dealing with UNESCO is very difficult, transaction costs, time-consuming. Liverpool is no longer a World Heritage Site. It is, however, a world-class heritage city. It will go on, it will flourish, there'll be investment, there'll be tourists, people will come. Actually, in economic terms, this will make very little difference at all. And to some extent, if you're asking who should decide what a place should be and what it should do, it is really the people who live and work there rather than an international organization. We regret it. I'm sorry we've lost it. That's a regret. But if we'd lost the development of Everton Football Club, that would have been a tragedy for the city. So frankly, we move on, and UNESCO is history for us.
It makes a lot of sense. Professor Michael Parkinson, thank you. And we do hope when the restrictions ease, we can come and visit one day soon. Thank you.
I'd love to see Australia again, my favourite country.
We'd love to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.